Joining me now is One Nation leader, Senator Pauline Hanson. Senator, good to have you on the show. Thank you so much for your time. Let's start with the coalition. They're back together, though, as I said earlier, you could really cut the tension with a knife in that joint press conference today. What's your reaction to that, and do you maintain that you'd still want to form a coalition?
Look, when I spoke about forming a coalition, Danica, it was about if they were short in numbers to form government, I would say, right, I'd give you confidence and I'd give you supply. I don't want to be part of their cabinet, or because what an absolute mess that is. I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be dragged along to support their policies, which most of the time I think they're a shambles, and I don't think they have some sound policies to get the country out of the mess. But I think that working with them, so if they require the vote of One Nation, we would look at their legislation. Look, Danica, I'll work with anyone if I think it's in the best interest for the country and for the people. But they need to get their act together. Do I think Susan Lee is going to last the distance? No, I don't. Have I got faith in Angus Taylor? No, I don't. Andrew Hastie? No, I don't. They're lacking a lot because they've been taken over by the moderates. The moderates keep dragging them to the left. That's why One Nation is the only Conservative party to actually get them back on track to get this country back in the hands of the people.
Well, and as I said earlier, you know, this idea that they could align themselves with the Teals, they don't like the word mass migration. I mean, you know, no wonder they're in the situation that they are.
Net zero?
And net zero, exactly, yep, absolutely.
Everything.
And everything.
Yep.
Making
net zero, gender dysphoria.
Yes, exactly.
Everything.
Yeah, and basic things like what is the difference between a man and a woman, you know, just simple policies. But your proposition has really got the Libs and Nats on edge. Here's a reminder of some of it today. Have a look.
We often hear the conversation from them about the problems, not so good at identifying what the solutions are.
Well, how serious is Pauline Hanson? She seems to be only coming after National and Liberal Party seats.
And maybe to an extent that's true. I mean, there's no doubt you're looking at those seats. But how do you read this? Because if the polls are right, you're doing something correct. I mentioned reform earlier. Farage has taken it from a protest party to one which could genuinely form government. But how do you do that?
All right. Danica, what I'm saying is I believe we need to get rid of the Labor Greens. They are toxic for this country. Now, if I have to work with the coalition side to get the government out of the hands of the Labor Greens and the Teals, I will do that. There's no problem about that. I'm not just targeting coalition seats. I will be standing candidates across 150 seats plus the Senate, and therefore I am attracting those Labor voters as well. So I'm pulled up constantly. People say I was a staunch Labor voter. No more. I'm fed up with the Labor Party. Or even the Greens. Some people said I voted Greens. I'm not following the Greens anymore. So people are slowly waking up to what One Nation stands for and looking at our policies. As far as the policies and saying that we don't have policies, I'm always complaining. Well, the coalition picked up my policy about the fuel excise tax, and Morrison did it for 6 months and I forced him to do that. Plus also in the last election they picked up about the fuel excise tax. The superannuation scheme, using the money for your home loans, that was One Nation policy before the Libs came out with it. So even the foreign investment, ownership of homes in Australia by foreign investments, that's another One Nation policy picked up by the Labor and also the coalition. So they say I haven't got policies when they're constantly picking up my policies and ideas is ridiculous. And I'll put this point in. When I had the shared balance of power under Turnbull and Morrison, the minister in the coalition, Liberal, said to me, Pauline, we've got good policies, but working with you has improved our policies because you've actually have helped us to improve our legislation. Now, that came from the minister. So they're not, they do want to work with me because they know damn well we are beneficial to them because we research, we've got good policies, we're in line with the Australian people.
Look, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, especially given that commentary by them today. Now, I've got to say, you returned quite emphatically to the Senate this week after the burqa ban. You entered, you took a bow, you gave your fellow colleagues a wave. I think we've got that vision, we'll bring it up, but there you are entering the Senate there. I mean, I wonder how happy they were to have you back, Senator. But, I mean, a lot has changed, I've got to say, since you were suspended, hasn't it? There's been Bondi, the gun laws, the hate speech laws. It's a very, very different set of circumstances.
It has. What's happened since I was banned in late November, I think it was 25th of November, to what it is today, so much has happened, and I was really, upset that I couldn't be on the floor of Parliament. I asked Albanese to actually take the ban off so I could be on the floor of Parliament to discuss it. No word whatsoever. That's up to the Senate. Well, he didn't tell Penny Wong. Penny Wong could have actually said, OK, we'll allow her back in, but they didn't. Danica, we need that strong voice in the Senate, and they cut down debate on that hate speech laws. The Nats followed our lead with it and not supporting the hate speech laws. So we actually brought up a lot of the issues in that legislation they weren't aware of, either the Libs. So we actually led the way again with the hate speech laws.
Yeah, and I mean, now look what's happened with the hate speech laws. The coalition split because of it, and they are back together today, but it's a very, very different face of the parliament this year. I want to ask you about Jacinta Nampijinpa Price, the Liberal senator. She's ruled out a switch to One Nation, even though she told the Daily Telegraph today that she had been sidelined by the Liberals. Had you been actively pursuing her? Are you disappointed that she wouldn't make the switch?
No, I haven't spoken to her personally about coming across at all. Prior to the last election, prior to her being a senator, I did ask her if she would stand for One Nation at the time. She didn't respond to me, but then it was very shortly after that she joined up with the Nats for the Northern Territory. So she's going to find it difficult with the next election, because now she's switched to the Liberal Party. She's up for re-election the next time. So where are they going to put her? I don't know. No Liberal senator is going to move aside for her to run in their seat, and they'll have to find her a safe lower house seat if they want to keep her on. She's going to be in dire straits. I think she will struggle.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how that plays out. We're almost out of time, but I've got to ask you about this.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Abdul Rivzi. He's the former Deputy Secretary of the Department of Immigration. He's launched this attack on you on social media, saying, quote, Pauline left school at 15 without completing high school. He was responding to comments that you made about skilled and non-skilled migrants. When I saw this, Senator, I thought, here we go. I mean, this is the man that once headed up our migration program. I'd also make mention that Paul Keating left school at 14 and became Prime Minister. What's your response to this?
Well, when I went to school, 15 was the normal age to leave, and it was only a few years prior to that you left school at 13. Well, I topped my grades in year 9. I got number 1, top of the grade out of 54 students. I've gone on to lead my own political party. I've run my own small business most of my life, and I've actually, led a team that got people elected to Parliament. So every time he wants to have a go at me, he's having a go at every other person out there around my age who left school at that age. And when we grew up, 60s and 70s, we had the most productivity in the country. We actually knew how to write, how to read, how to string a sentence together, and we could actually do our sums without a calculator. So I think, these days, I think they're failing our educational system. So anyway, he's having to go at everyone around my age.
Yeah, and exactly. I mean, so what if you left school at a certain age? As you said, there are people out there with great success stories. It's actually an attack on so many people. Yep. Extraordinary. Pauline Hanson, always great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it.